Hello and welcome to this video where it's more of an experiment. I'm looking at the spring split stats, trying to formulate a power rankings based off of those stats that I then can carry over to summer so I can power rank the teams, especially in the minor regions that I don't normally watch, and figure out who's good and who's not through stats and not watching them because obviously I, watch the four major regions. So like I said, this is all spring split. There's nothing to do with playoffs on here, so you will notice G2 is not on here. You'll notice Red Canids aren't on here. Team Ace isn't on here. EG. This is because during spring split overall, their stats weren't that great. Now, obviously, I'm trying to figure out how to weight each region against each other to make the algorithm work because especially not watch like this. This is what the algorithm spat out, and I can fine tune this just because I watch the teams play. Like, I know that TL is not better than Gen G, EDG, Damwon. I don't think 100 Thieves should even be up here. Don't even know if Cloud9 should be up here. So I know that. So obviously, the power rankings when it comes to the four major regions, I pretty much do that based off of what I have seen. Not, I don't need an algorithm to tell me these things. Now, obviously, when you look at it and you say, "Oh, well, G2 isn't on there," well, yeah, because they struggled during spring at times, and because they struggled in spring at times, they aren't on here because the stats don't indicate that they were a top 15 team stat wise. Now, when I weight the regions against each other, up here, you probably can't read it, but I have it LPL first, LCK second, LEC third, the PCS ahead of LCS, 4 and 5, Vietnam sixth, uh, Oceania 7, Turkey 8, Japan 9, Latin America 10, Brazil last place 11th. Now you're going to ask, why do I have it the way I did, especially after the last couple weeks? Because this is spring split, and that happened before MSI, I'm trying to utilize numbers that occurred over the last few years, especially with the case of Vietnam at international events. Vietnam's sixth place based off of finishing as the sixth strongest region at Worlds 2019. I used Worlds 2019, 2020, 2021, and MSI 2021 to figure out where to rank everybody. So if your region struggled at some of those events, then that's why your region is lowly ranked. Now, after MSI, I'm going to alter this based on how the regions finish. Obviously, the top six are the top six, but the bottom five are going to change in order based on how teams finished. So that will be a thing. To weight the regions against each other. Obviously, not all the regions played against each other, which makes this difficult, but I feel like it's a good start. Another reason why I'm struggling to cross-reference these major region, smaller region situation is that the PCS being fourth place and the way that PSG dominated their region, PSG actually rated out as the top team in the world. Now, that's not true. PSG is a very good team. I would argue PSG and GAM are definitely in the top 15 in the world. PSG top 10, GAM probably in this area. Obviously, like I said, I wouldn't include 100 Thieves in there, but I would still keep LNG top, Damwon, JDG, and maybe not the Kwangdong Freaks. I think the Freaks kind of struggled, but an FPX maybe, a G2 would be in here without stats and just basically off of watching teams play. So with that, I have to still figure that out. I have to figure out how I'm going to cross-reference the PCS and VCS over, because VCS also ranked GAM as the fourth best team in the world because GAM dominated Vietnam so much. And you're going to see Saigon Buffalo 13th. People know that I have upset the Saigon Buffalo fans, and that is what it is. They obviously don't understand the situation. But 13th because they struggled during spring at times. They were I think they finished 14 and 4. So you're up there. You're one of the best teams in the minor regions, but you did lose 4 games. Some games to blowouts, some games close, whatever. That's what the algorithm spat out. And obviously, looking at this, the LCO is too highly ranked. I have quite a few LCO teams on here, and I don't think LCO is that good compared to Vietnam or, I don't know, even CBLOL for that matter. I mean, this past split. So we'll see how the numbers will look at the beginning of summer based on how teams finish at MSI. Obviously, the top six are still going to be the top six. It just depends on what order it's going to end up being in. Um, because I mean, this is all regular season stats. This isn't playoff stats. This isn't best of five stats. This isn't international stats. This is how the teams did during the regular season. And like the PCS are rated really strongly because they're the fourth best region, at least based on what I looked at over the last four international events. You've got PSG first, J Team third, Deep Cross Gaming fourth. You've got Flying Oyster eighth, Beyond Gaming 10th. So 5 out of the top 10 teams are PCS teams. And theoretically, that should make sense. PCS are very, very good. But I think Saigon Buffalo should be rated a little bit higher. They shouldn't be 13th because Vietnam is so strong. But then you also have to debate, is it because the PCS is top heavy and the bottom half really struggles? Is it the same thing with the LCO? Is that why the LCO is rating out the way it is? I have a couple TCL teams. Istanbul 9th. Donation Focus Me 6th. I feel like that is about right, over the years, Japan and Turkey have been kind of at that rate. You see the way the PCS teams usually finish at international events, and it is much higher than Japan and Turkey and Oceania. And you see Chief Esports here, Chief Esports Club, I believe is what it's called, 5th place from the LCO. They were the best team in Australia this past split. Did they move on? No. So are they the 5th best team? I don't know. I didn't watch them play. Like I said, I didn't watch the smaller regions play. So comment down below if you watched a lot of smaller regions play. If within your given region, like if you're a PCS fan, were J-Team, Deep Cross, Flying Oyster, Beyond really that good? Or was it that the bottom teams really stunk? If you're a fan of the LCO, was that the case? I only have one Latin American team on here. It's Rainbow 7 because Latin America has struggled. And really, it wasn't like Rainbow 7 dominated the split. Obviously, they didn't make it out. CBLOL, I don't have any team on here because they rated so low over the last 4 international events. Kaboom did not move on. Red did, and Red had their struggles during the spring split. So Red doesn't grade out that well anyways during regular season. So comment down below if you watch the smaller regions play. I mean, when it comes to these teams, obviously, I have acknowledged that the algorithm is not really useful for just these big teams. It's useful to cross-reference these teams, in my opinion, to find one. To find an algorithm, it's useful to create a cumulative power rankings because I would love, the goal is to be able to take all 100 teams or whatever and have a 100 team power ranking. And maybe have it as a post instead of a video, or put it out in sections maybe every couple weeks or whatever. It'd be interesting to see how these regions compare against each other, how the strongest teams are comparing against each other, how they're performing, even to see what the worst teams are, because the worst team right now in the 4 major regions grades out as Live Sandbox, and I don't believe Sandbox is the worst team in the 4 major regions. I would have said TSM, CLG, BDS at times, LGD, those sorts of teams really, really struggled. Thunder Talk struggled. Those sort of teams probably I would have below Live Sandbox. But Live Sandbox did have their issues, so, it's interesting to see that too. So, thank you for watching this video. Obviously, this was an experiment. I would really like comments. This is not me saying X team is better than another team. This is what the algorithm gave me. I do believe it to some degree. I believe PSG and GAM and J-Team are definitely the 3 best smaller region teams, but how does it really fall after that? I do feel safe in saying Victory 5 was the best LPL team during spring overall. T1's up there, RNG a top 4 team. Rogue and Fnatic played a great LEC split, and we all know they did, and they choked during the playoffs. Rogue did, but Rogue were good once again in the regular season. So them grading out in the top 5 makes sense to me. So thank you for watching this video. If you got this far, subscribe to the channel for daily content. Tomorrow, Rumble stage starts, 4 in the morning. I will be doing my League of Legends roundups. If you do not know what that is, you can go back through my channel. I've been doing roundups throughout all of spring in the 4 major regions, except for like a 2-week period when I was out of town. So I know. That's why I feel confident when it comes to the 4 major regions and what each team offers, at least within their own region domestically. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope you come back for more content.